Welcome back to All Indiana. Well, Tim Wenders is a strategic coach and author and a successful real estate mogul, but that's not why we want to talk to him. You see, Tim is now kind of homeless.
He's never been more successful. He and his wife choose to be without a home. They live, travel, and work all over North America in their 39-foot motorhome. You heard me right. Tim has redefined success in order to live his best life. Tim's journey is mirrored in this novel he's written called Coach, a story of success redefined. It's a journey that could have led to destruction or salvation. And Tim joins us now from Colorado Springs, where he's actually celebrating the birth of his second grandchild. So congratulations. Thanks so much for joining us, our friend. Tell us a little bit about your journey. And first off, how does it feel being a grandpa ×2?
Let me just say, there's not a better gig, a better job, anything better in the world than being a grandparent or grandfather, and ×2 is even better. So everything else is just side gigs. So it's awesome.
When people hear that you don't have a home and you and your wife, travel in a motorhome, they're thinking, how's this person know about success? But how do you measure success?
Yeah, I measure success. It's kind of a spiritual thing for me. I like to be following along with, I think, the guidance that I get from God. And also just like to, my wife and I like to be able to do the things that are important to us. Like right now, spending the month in Colorado Springs around our daughter, son-in-law, and grandchild. So it's just flexibility, maybe. That's a good definition.
I love that you said that this is connected to your faith because, Randall and I are also pretty strong in our faith. And when it comes to faith, it's usually attached to a journey. So tell us a little bit about how you got to this journey, especially having everything and then losing it all as a massive change. How did you embrace that and redefine what success means for you?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that question because I love sharing that in 2008, we had 3 companies. They were doing very well. We lived in a big house, country club area, had a lot of real estate, and that gives you a clue that by 2008, things started changing. Well, fast forward 2013, we'd gone through bankruptcy, we had lost our home and lost all the companies, and we were living in a Honda van. So we became nomads, kind of by force. But the thing my wife and I say, we started traveling and we lived in Australia and New Zealand for a while. Later, we got our RV, and for over 3 years now, we've really been living and traveling in our RV. We wouldn't wish our journey on anyone, but we're thankful that we went through it because it kind of purged us of the need to do a lot of the materialistic things. And I'm not against all that stuff, but it sure is nice to not have it having the grips on us that it once did. We just lead a relaxed lifestyle and do real well financially, but we still are mobile and live pretty simple.
Wow.
No matter where you go in the U.S. right now, it's clear we are living in chaotic times. What's your secret to thriving in these times?
To thriving in these times? Well, I think part of it is what I said, try to live below your means. But I do think it's a spiritual foundation. I won't get preachy here, but I do think spiritual is part of that. But I think it's just living your best life. I think it's finding the things that give you passion and joy. My wife and I say that when we travel, we look for places, people that nourish our soul. And I think that everybody can do that, even if they don't travel like us. I think in your local areas, you could find things that nourish your soul, as opposed to the things, and we know what those are, that may tear at us. And so find those things that nourish you.
It's so interesting. I always love to chat with people who are wives like you. So for your grandbabies, right, if you only could give them 3 things to do before they got to their 30s, what would be the 3 things that you would tell them, hey, make sure you do these things so that way you're good to go?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was writing an article yesterday for a future podcast episode. So I've got 7, but I'll try to narrow it down to 3. Foundation is your spiritual walk. Make sure that you understand that the world is more than just you. Second thing is to don't get caught up in material possessions like we talked earlier. And then here's a big one I think that's important for right now. Don't be concerned about what other people think. Don't allow other people to control your emotions.
Oh, I love this. You know what? This is amazing.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, I'm so glad you brought that up. How important is it to do away with people's perceptions of you, especially in this age of social media? Everybody's trying to measure up to somebody else. How important is that to kind of getting down that successful path?
Gosh, I think it's key because, I grew up, I'm of the age, I'm a grandfather, so I grew up kind of pre-internet. I hate to date myself, but I remember before the internet was there, and Now I've got my granddaughter who she's not going to know a disconnected world, and many of you and your listeners are probably the same way. And I'm going to use a strong word. I hope it doesn't come across wrong, but I think that many people have become sort of a slave to technology and all of these great tools that connect people, instead of we need it to be our slave, our servant. It needs to serve us. And so the big thing we need to do is make sure we're not allowing ourselves to be controlled by all this technology and these platforms and these tech companies. Make sure that we're in charge. Put yourself in charge of that. And I think that's an important thing we need to remind ourselves of.
Well, listen, closed mouths don't get fed. Tim, if you need some more kids, we're not grandkid level, but we can be adopted, okay? Alexis Randall, put us in your prayer journal. The book is Coach, A Story of Success Redefined. Tim Winders, thank you so much for joining and sharing your time with us today.